Hi everyone, this is Carolina Millan and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Hustle. And today I'm here with, I have no words to describe. He's a mentor to me, he's been a friend to me, everything, a role model, Mr. Russell Brunson. Russell, how are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. It's so fun to hang out and talk with you again.
No, thank you. Thank you. I really, really admire you so much and it means so much to me that you're taking the time to talk to me today. So thank you from the heart.
Oh, no worries. Well, it's a good
Uh,
time because we're all in lockdown. So it's like we get to talk about, all this fun stuff we don't normally get to. So it's perfect.
I know. This is really special. Yeah. So I guess you're in is that your living room right now where you are?
This is my little office on the side of the house. So
It looks very nice. Very nice.
thank you.
So Russell has a new book coming up called Traffic Secrets, and because I'm so cool, woo! Oh my God! Yeah, I don't
Stuck in
have
the
that yet.
Ah, there
Uh,
it is.
I don't have that one yet. Damn it! I only have the soft one.
These are coming soon. You'll get one soon. Don't worry.
I know. So, because I'm cool, Russell sent me a review copy. So I already read the book. I loved it, loved it. So we're going to be
Oh,
talking
thank
about
you.
it today. So the first thing I want to know, Russell, is, well, when we met 5 years ago, you were just launching .com Secrets, the first book.
Mhm.
Did you always know it was going to be a trilogy? How did the idea for Traffic Secrets come to be?
It definitely, no, it did not. It never did not start as a trilogy. In fact, when I wrote .com Secrets, I was like, it was so much harder to write a book than I thought. And it got done. I was like, I'll never write a book again. That was horrible. And so I didn't we launched the book and sold a whole bunch of them. And it went really well. And it was the same time we launched Clickfunnels. So it was kind of interesting because people were getting the book and understanding funnels and building funnels. And for about a year, I was just like, this is awesome. I'll never write a book again. And then as people, as time started going on, I started realizing like I would see why people would cancel ClickFunnels and like, oh, my funnel's not making any money. And I look at them and I was like, your funnel's not making money because like there's no good like the person didn't know how to like communicate to people that came to their funnel. Like how do you make a video to entice them and to tell them your story? And they didn't know how to do any of those things. And
Yeah.
so that's when I decided to do the second book. Here, I got them all right here.
Yeah.
So the first one was about how to build funnels. And the second one was like how to communicate with your audience when they come to the funnels and how do you tell them stories and how do you move them from page one to page two and all those kind of things. So that became the second book. And after this one was the same thing, super hard to write. I was like, I'll never write a book again. And it was on day 2 of the Expert Secrets launch that John Reese, who's the founder, he owned Traffic Secrets. He was the first person in our industry to make $1 million in a day selling
Yeah.
a course called Traffic Secrets. And he emailed me and he's like, hey, do you want to buy Traffic Secrets from me on day 2 of the Expert Secrets book launch? And I was like,
Ooh.
it would be the perfect trilogy. I was like, I have to have it. So I bought that. And then for a year, I was like, I'm not going to write a book. I don't want to write it. It's too much pain. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm going to write
Fine.
a book. It can be a trilogy. And so that's kind of how, but yeah, it definitely wasn't planned ahead of time, but it's ended really in a really cool way where it's like, here's how to build a funnel. Here's how to speak in your funnel. Here's how to drive traffic in your funnel.
It's
And I
perfect.
feel like that story is complete.
It just falls
Hopefully.
into place. I remember didn't you delete Expert Secrets at one point and start over?
Yeah. After the first draft was completely done. It was back when everyone was doing Snapchat. So I was Snapchatting at the time. And I remember I was reading the draft and I just wasn't happy. And so live on Snapchat, I highlighted the whole thing. I deleted and then I just saved whatever. So I couldn't get it back. And people were freaking out and I was freaking out. And yeah, that was
I remember that.
a scary day of my life.
I remember that. So, did anything similar happen with Traffic Secrets? Did you hate it at one point, or was it awesome the whole time?
Traffic. So I think I was so scared to write Traffic Secrets because traffic is, as you know, it's it changes so much, right? Like Facebook
Yeah.
changes daily and it's like all these things. And so I had so much fear about like, how do you write a book about a topic like that, but make it so that the book's evergreen, so it'll last forever. And so I think for me, for almost a year, I stressed out about it. I was like trying to figure out how am I going to write? I don't want to write it if it's going to be around for like 6 months and not be, I wonder if something will be here forever. And so it took me almost a year I remember about 7 or 8 months in, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I know how to actually do this in a way that could be evergreen. And so I think instead this time I just spent way more time up front thinking and waiting before I started, as opposed to writing it and then be like, I hate this. So
Right.
there's no big deleting this time, but it it took way longer to write than I normally do.
I know. So, like you just said, like it's really challenging. Like when you first announced you were writing a book about traffic, I was immediately wondering, how is he going to do this? Because the moment he publishes the book, it will have changed. So, how did you come up with this framework? Because it's really good.
I started thinking. Because like how most people learn traffic nowadays is they go and they buy a course on how to get traffic, right? And usually what happens is like somebody learn some like hack or some technique like on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, and they make a course to exploit it and teach other people. And then it works for a while, but then like the loophole closes. And I was like, how come because I've been now I think this is my 17th year or 18th year in this business. I've been doing this for like
a long time.
Way too long. And I was like, someone asked me before I started this, like, how did you get traffic before Facebook? And I was like, that's a really good question. Like, what were we doing? And I started going back and remembering like what were the principles we used? Because I didn't buy my first ad on Facebook till like 12 years into my business. My first paid ad ever was 10 years in. And so the first decade, like, how are we driving traffic? And we had to go back and like remember. And it's interesting because like I remember the guys that I learned from were all these old school direct response marketers like Dan Kennedy and Bill Glazer and Gary Halbert, all these guys.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because they didn't look at, I think nowadays a lot of people look at the internet as like the internet is a business. You're like, here's my business, it's on the internet. And they looked at the internet differently. So no, internet's just a media channel, just like radio, direct mail, newspapers, like the internet's just a channel like that. And when you shift your thinking to like, this isn't my business, this is the channel, then it's like, okay, well, how do all the other channels work? Because there's similarities between direct mail and radio and newspapers and the internet. When you understand the pattern that's been there from the beginning of advertising till now, it's just like, oh, you just apply these patterns here and it works. And when I started realizing that and started looking at it, I was like, is that true? And I was like, is it true in Facebook? Yes. Is it true in Instagram? Yes. Is it true in YouTube? Yes. Would it be true in TikTok? Would it be true in Twitch? Would it be true on some weird platform that we've never heard of? And it was like, yes, the principles work on all of them. And that's when I was like, all right, now I got the framework for the book. This is how we do it. So that's kind of how it came about.
This is how we do it. No, that's great. Like, because what people are thinking about today when they think traffic, they immediately think paid, like ads. Like traffic equals paid ads. And the book is so much more than that. What is your favorite chapter of the book?
Oh, so my favorite section's actually in the back. And it's funny because like I hit it in the back because most people only read chapter 1 in the book and they never take it up. So I'm like, this is just for the people that are like the most diehards. But there's a section in the back called growth hacking. And I put it in the back for a couple reasons. Number one is like section number 1, you have to have, it's the foundation to really understand any of it. Section 2 is like very specific different networks. So you understand how to use the pattern. And then back here is like, all right, let's say you have no networks. Like how do you growth hack? How do you get traffic from all these different places? And I think my favorite chapters are in the back where it's talking about ways that are just different, like different ways to start thinking about it. Like one of my favorites, there's a chapter in here called integration marketing. And this is a concept I learned from my first mentor, whose name is Mark Joyner, who wrote a book called Integration Marketing. I remember he told me something, this is like probably 14 or 15 years ago. He was like, so many marketers, we go and we try to do a promotion, right? So like, let's go find somebody and see if they'll email their list or see if they'll do a Facebook Live for me, whatever. He's like, that's great, but you get like a little surge in sales and then it dies. And he's like, what I want to do is I want to figure out how to integrate with companies who are getting consistent flow of traffic. And so what he would do is he would go and he would find a company who had a funnel, right? Or a sign-up flow and say, hey, what if my product came upsell number 3? Or what if in your email sequence, like right now you've got, someone joins your list and you have 3 emails. What if the email number 4 was promoting my free book? And he set up that deal once, and then every single time that person that partnership got somebody new to join the list, on day number 3, the email came out and it consistently forever started getting traffic. And it was like such a simple thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge. And so we spent a ton of time when Clickfunnels came out, like how do we integrate Clickfunnels into other people's sales channels, other people's sales flows? Excuse me. And like right now, just for some people to get a glimpse of like, 5 years of doing the integration stuff. Right now, ClickFunnels gets over 1,000 new people signing up every single day that aren't coming from my advertising efforts.
Wow.
It's just from people that are like these deals we set up. So if you look at, how many, if you guys buy stuff from people online, you probably notice that ClickFunnels is weaved into a lot of people's courses. It's on people's thank you pages. It's in people's email sequences. Like that was all very strategic of us. Like, how do we integrate into everybody else's businesses? And if we can do that, then we're getting traffic from all those people. And so I would say, like, for everyone listening, like, think about that. Like, instead of just, I want to get somebody to promote me once, or I'm going to go buy an ad somewhere, like, how do you plug in? How do you become email number 17 in their email sequence? Or how do you become the offer on someone's thank you page? Or after someone gets through, buys everything, then on the thank you page, it's like, hey, thanks for buying my product. You should check out Russell's product, or check out your product, however that is, and just start looking at traffic a little differently.
So that's what that chapter focuses on mainly.
Yeah, it's really fun to think about.
Oh, that's really brilliant. So when you were starting out, like you said, oh, how did I get traffic 12, 15 years ago? What was your biggest challenge in terms of traffic when you were starting out, young man? And today, do you still have any traffic challenges now?
So when I first got started was back, for those who've been around for a long time, Google used to be really easy. And so I got started, I got spoiled for like a little season for 2 or 3 months where Google was like, you would set up an ads account and you'd put in like 5 cents for a click and you'd make money. And it was just, everyone made money. And I remember there was this guy named Chris Carpenter. He wrote a book called Google Cash that taught everybody how to do it. And soon, like, everybody I knew around me bought this ebook for like $30, and then they were all killing it on Google Ads. And so I was the same way. And my first product was a potato gun DVD. I was buying Google Ads, and it was so easy. And I was like, it was funny because I was in school at the time, and I was like, why would I go to school? This is like the easiest money. It's just like free money. Just like, it was so easy. And then it was the very first time I got hit by the infamous Google slap, where it's like I got slapped.
Oh yeah.
And everybody got slapped. And it was like, most people never recovered. Most people I knew who were in business, like, that was the end of it. I remember I was so frustrated because I was like, I feel like I had achieved, like, I had a little success and I tasted it. And I was like, there's got to be another way. And so then I started doing like SEO, and we did SEO for a while, and then it got slapped, and we figured out other ways, and it got slapped, and it kept changing. And I think, for me, that was a big part. It was so inconsistent. And so I got really good. Like, we need to have diversity in traffic. Like, I can't just rely on one thing. And so for us, it was always a mindset of like, okay, what are all the ways we can get traffic? In fact, I remember pre-Clickfunnels, we had a little office of a few guys that would get together and work together, try to figure out how to grow a little company. And we had a mantra, and the mantra was like, how do you give yourself a raise today? And so we come in every day, and it was like, okay, what should we do to like give ourselves a raise today? And it was like, okay, well, how do we get traffic? And again, there was no Facebook back then. There was no, Google had destroyed us. So it was like coming in, and we're trying to figure out like, well, how do we get traffic? And so what we became really good at, and I talk about this a lot in secret number 2 of the book, is secret 1 is all about like figuring out who your dream customer is. But secret 2 is like, where are these people congregating? And so we would literally sit there all day. And do you remember Stumbled Upon? I don't know if people still use Stumbled Upon.
Yeah, I used it a lot. Yeah. I loved it.
We used to go and like we'd just show you random websites that would be really interesting. So we sit there with like our iPads and just like you stumble upon it, would find different sites, and like as we were finding random sites, we're like, oh, like my customers probably go here. Oh, there's an email list. Maybe this person has an email. So we join the person's list. We contact the website, and we just like randomly going through trying to find websites that my customers may already be on, and then trying to figure out how to do partnerships and deals with people based on that. And so we were just like searching the internet, trying to find these little pockets of our dream customers, and then tap into it. And if we could tap into it and figure out how to integrate with the people there, it's integration marketing. Now, like, every time somebody joins that person's website or that person's list, somehow that person might come back to our company. And it was just years of us doing those little dorky things, trying to find where traffic was already at so we could jump into it. And that was before there was any paid ads. And so paid advertising's made it simpler for sure. But I also think it's and this comes back to the biggest fear nowadays is like, I think so many of us, and us included, we get Facebook ads, especially for the last 6 or 7 years, have been so easy and so consistent. People have just, in fact, most people, like, when I ask them like, how do you get traffic to your business? They're like, Facebook ads. Like, what else? Like is there like, that's how you get traffic? I'm like, how many of you guys have lost your ads accounts at least once? How many people do you know have lost their ads account? Like, it is like, it's getting harder and harder. In fact, it's kind of funny. When I started writing this book 18 months ago, the introduction, like the subtitle introduction said, "Introduction, there's a storm coming." Yeah. And like literally, I was seeing it right then. It's happening, and now we're like in the middle of this eye of the storm.
We're in this huge storm right now.
But like, I can't tell you how many people every single day message me like, "Oh, my ads account shut down. What do I do?" I'm like, "Go get the book." Like Facebook is like a little sliver of the traffic strategy. It is a very powerful sliver, but there's so much more you can and should be doing if you shift your mindset, start understanding how traffic actually works. And so I think nowadays our biggest problem is still we get reliant on the big sources that are simple. And so we forget, like, let's get back and like start focusing again on like integration marketing and figuring out the places to tap into and where else are our dream customers hanging out besides Facebook or Instagram that we can target, and we can start focusing on getting them into our funnels.
Absolutely. I think one of the best things about the book is how you illustrate going from the traffic you own, the traffic you earn, and the traffic as, oh my God, I forgot the last one.
the earned that you control, and then that you own. Yes.
The control. So it's good to have a balance of all three right now. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I get people all the time. They're like, well, do I have to do this? I'm like, you don't have to do anything. Like there's dozens of ways you'll get traffic in here, but the most, like, the businesses that will survive like times like this are businesses that are doing more than just one. And so we teach you how to do a very holistic strategy. Here's how to have a foundation of traffic, not just a traffic source that could dry up tomorrow.
Absolutely. Totally agree. This is a question from one of my followers, because I asked on social media, hey, anybody got a question from Russell? And someone asked me, when are we getting Clickfunnels in Spanish and even your books? What's happening?
Well, good news. So on the book side, I'll tell you the good news. So with the new book, we shipped our publisher to Hay House, who Hay House are amazing publishers. And we're already working on getting the entire box set translated to multiple different languages. Yes. And so these will be coming out soon. Now that we're in pre-launch right now, May 5th is when all these books start shipping. And then we're starting all the contracts with other languages. So that's happening as soon as possible. For Clickfunnels International, we're working on that as well. That has been a bigger project than I had planned. I don't have an exact date for that, but it is something we're working on, trying to figure out the best way to internationalize the software. We've been working also. I didn't write anyway. There's always like the technical part of how to do it, and then the legal part that I didn't know. I didn't realize this until recently. There's like every country's got different laws apparently that I didn't even know about. So it's been interesting. We have in-house lawyers now, which anyway, it's kind of crazy, but they're going through each country and figuring out what are the things we have to be able to be in each country. And like, we have to have offices. Some countries you have to have an office and a presence to be able to do things. And so we're trying to figure out all the different countries and how it works. And so we're definitely, it is top of mind, and we're moving towards that as quick as possible. But just, I thought it was going to be as easy as just like editing
That's what I thought
on a page. But apparently it's more than that. So yeah, that's all these weird things that I'm learning as the company's growing.
Oh, wow. But it's in the works. It's happening someday.
Definitely in the works.
Awesome. So I wanted to talk about another strategy that you mentioned in the book, the Dream 100, right? And that's something I've been playing with for a long time. Like, I think it's really powerful. So you guys have to read the book to find out more, because Russell explains it like step by step how to hack into the Dream 100 thing. But for example, my personal case, I've been building relationships with people like you, with Ingraciosi, with like a bunch of people that I look up to, but I don't dare ask for anything. Like, I don't dare tell you, hey, Russell, so you're in my Dream 100. Will you promote my book? Like, I'm scared. Like, I'm super scared. I don't have a book yet. But if I did, I don't think I would dare. So, and I think a lot of people are probably feeling the same way. What would you tell someone who has this limiting belief that your whole Dream 100 list will say no?
Oh, that's a good question. And I understand. In fact, it's been funny because even with this book, like I practice what I preach. Like, I'm in the middle of this right now. I spent, man, so many hours personally contacting Dream 100 and sending him texts and emails and Facebook Messenger. And one good news is that even I get scared. So that's a big thing. A couple other things is what I found is with Dream 100 is it's all a numbers game too. Like, typically I'll ask 100 people like, hey, I have a new book coming out, we help me promote. And from that, I won't hear back from like 70% of them. But then like 30% will be like, oh yeah, I'll help you. And then, but even the 30% that say they'll help you, only half of those actually do end up helping you. And I remember back in the day, I get frustrated, like, oh, like no one's responding to my emails, or they said they were gonna help and they didn't. I get upset. But I realize it's just everyone's got their own thing, their own busy schedule, and it may not be a good fit. And if not, that's okay, because maybe the next time it's a good fit. And so when I ask my Dream 100 to be part of something, I'm very respectful of them and their time, and in fact, and I try to help them understand why I'm doing something. I hate asking, but here's the reason why, and if you can help, that'd be awesome. If not, don't worry about it. In fact, do you want me to read you the text I sent out to like 100 people yesterday?
Yeah,
you can see it in action.
Sure.
All right. And the response from it's been really, really good. So so first off, I sent each of them a copy of the book. So you got a copy of the book. Here on my Dream 100.
I'm in your Dream 1000.
Yeah. And then I messaged and I said, I hope you got the book. Let me know when you get it. Also, I'm about halfway through the Traffic Seekers books launch. It's the highest conversion I've ever had on a funnel. After over 20,000 books sold, we still have an average of $63 average cart value, which is about 2x any book funnel I've ever done before. I hate asking, but if you have any room to promote, I love help. We're paying big commissions, and I'm trying to hit New York Times list, so I need to double the sales in the next 2 weeks. If you're able to help promote, you can get an affiliate link here. If you want to do a Facebook Live or a podcast interview, here's a link for that. If you're not able to promote, no worries. I totally understand too. Thanks. So I send that with like no pressure, no risk.
Yeah.
If they want to, cool. If not, I'm totally cool as well. And then I kind of put it back in their court. And again, a whole bunch of them that responded back, and a whole bunch of them did. Like a bunch of them said, oh, and people like I didn't think we were gonna say yes, or just like, oh, it's actually really good timing for me. And other people who I thought were gonna say yes was like, I'm actually in the middle of my thing, or the whole coronavirus, we're focusing on this. I'm like,
right.
Oh, no worries. Like, so I think it's just taking the pressure off of you and off of them, and just asking nicely and tell them kind of your goal. Like, this is why I'm trying to do it. If you can help, cool. If not, no worries. But it does take that fear of asking. And I think it's okay if you built a relationship with people. It's okay to ask if they, so hopefully that helps. Just to kind of see exactly how I do it and how I still get nervous doing it too.
No, it definitely helps. So, for example, if somebody has you in their Dream 100, right, and you don't know them yet, right? What would you recommend would be the right approach, like, so that you actually pay attention and not ignore them? Like, what should somebody say? What would be the right thing to say to get hopefully a response?
Cool. I think the biggest thing is being present on people's like social platforms where they're personally doing stuff. You know what I mean? And everyone's got different things. Some people, they've got companies that are publishing. They got whatever. But I think most people are personally publishing somewhere. Right? So, for example, like I really like Instagram right now. For a while, I used to love Facebook. YouTube, but like Instagram is like my favorite right now. So like I'm doing Insta stories all the time. I have a team that publishes during the week, but all the weekends are always I'm personally published. All the weekend posts are always 100% me. And so like when I post something, it's funny. You think you'd mature past being excited, but like I still get excited. I still go and like what are people saying? What are they commenting? And there are people that comment on every one of my posts, and I know like I see their faces all the time, and they good comments, and like a lot of times I'll click on their face, like oh, who is this person? And I'll follow them back, and then it starts conversations. But I think the biggest thing is like, if you really want to be at someone's Dream 100, like you got to be a fan of them first.
Yeah.
Like before I ever asked Tony Robbins for things, I went to his events. I helped him. I served him. I went through his content. Like I know his stuff as good as he does. Like I could go teach a Tony Robbins event to this day. It wouldn't be as cool, but I could say all the words. Like I know his stuff at that level, And I think that creators appreciate that people are actually paying attention to what they're creating, what they're saying, what they're doing. And so that'd be one of the biggest things I think is just like figuring out where they're actually posting stuff on it and consistently comment. In fact, Ryan Holiday is like my favorite author right now. He's like so prolific, so good. And I follow him on Instagram, and he posted, this is probably almost a year ago, he posted a manuscript of his new book, which is Stillness is the Key. He posted that picture of it on Instagram. And you could tell like he was so proud. It's his book. He spent a year writing it and posted that. And I was like, comment number 3, like, dude, I'm so excited to get your book. Like, I love your book. Like, you're my favorite author, like all this stuff. And, he just posted that. And then 2 minutes later, he's scrolling through, he sees my name, and I'm talking about how amazing he is, how great he is. And first thing he does is hit me up and mess me like, dude, I didn't know you read my books. I was like, are you kidding me? And like, I totally geeked out on it. And like, we became friends from that. And like, but it all started with like, I actually follow him. I actually comment. I'm actually paying attention. Like when I'm reading his book, I'm taking pictures and tagging him like, I'm reading Ryan's book. This is my favorite thing. And like those things people see. And so I think, like actually immersing yourself in the content of the Dream 100 that you really want to get to know, because when you have a chance to like actually get to have the conversation or get to know them, like there's always that chance where it's like, now you have a chance to connect. If you're not prepared for that, and I've had that so many times, people like somehow they get through my gatekeepers and they've got like a 5-minute call with me, and like doing the call and they ask me, so what are you into, Russell? I'm like, or like
I thought
so
you knew.
What's most important to you in your business right now? I'm like, in fact, I had a guy, a big name guy who messaged me. He called me out of the blue, and he doesn't normally call me. And he wanted a favor. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, so what, like, what are you doing right now? What's up in your world? And I'm like, this is day 2 of the Traffic Seekers book launch. I'm like, I just launched a new book. He's like, oh, really? Like, what's it called? I'm like, like,
Bye.
Yeah, like, well, apparently you're not paying attention, so I'm not going to help. Like, it's just one of those things. So I think just paying attention. And I talk about it in the book. One of the things I talk about in here is like on whatever social platforms, like let's say it's Instagram that you're going to go, or Facebook or whatever, go and unsubscribe from all of your high school friends and the people that are causing drama and all the political people, and follow all your Dream 100. And that becomes the best research. Every morning I wake up and I scroll through and I see the stories, what's happening in the lives of all my Dream 100. I'm like, yeah, no, I watch the highlights. I watch everything. And I know what's happening in their world. And so when I message them, I can have a relevant conversation with them. It's not just as awkward, like, hey, so what do you up to? I know. I can ask them, like, hey, I saw you jumping on your trampoline. Like, people say it to me, like, hey, I saw you jumping on your trampoline with Nora yesterday. That was so cool. I'm like, yeah, thank you. You're paying attention. And it's like that's just one of the little things that moves a huge needle.
No, that's it. Makes a lot of sense. It must be really awkward. Like, get to someone and, hey, so what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we're running out of time. So one last question I have for you. I know we're living, like you said, 18 months ago, a storm is coming. You didn't know it was this storm, but you're a prophet. Did you see that Jared Leto started a cult?
No.
Well, he started a cult. He's Jesus or something.
Wow.
Anyway, what would you tell people who are struggling right now? Their businesses are, struggling with the uncertain times that we're living in today. What's your advice to them so that they keep going, they don't give up?
Yeah. I think the biggest advice that I can give anybody is just understanding where your customers are right now. In the first chapter in the Travis Seeger's book, I talk about like your dream customer, really understanding them at a deep level. And one thing I shared there, I said, if you look at it, your customers, people make their buying decisions based on one of two directions. Either they're moving towards pleasure or away from pain. I think over the last 8 to 10 years, as a society, as a world, we've been in good economic times, and so because of that, most people are making their decisions moving towards pleasure. So it's like, I want to make more money. I want to lose weight. I want to get 6-pack abs. I want to I want a bigger house. I want a bigger they're moving towards pleasure. Okay, 2 weeks ago, everything got shooken up, and now all of a sudden everybody's in fear and they're in pain and they're freaking out. And they're sitting at home and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, what's the world gonna look like? Like, my kid's ever gonna get out of my hair? Like, all the things, right? They're in pain. And if you're trying to talk to your customers and talk about moving towards pleasure, like, they have no desire to move towards pleasure right now. They're in pain and they want to move out of pain. And so it's understanding that, like, with the people that you're serving, with the customers, when you're driving traffic, when you're trying to help people and serve people, understand that they're in pain right now. And your job is to figure out, how does the product or the service that you sell, how can it help to get people out of pain today? And when you understand that, like, you shift your marketing, you shift your languages, but you also shift how you're helping people. And I believe, and I don't know, I don't understand the viruses and pandemics, and I don't understand all of that stuff. But I do believe it will pass. And I don't know, sometimes with some things like war, where wars can go on for years, sometimes the fear, I think, extends longer. With this, it's a virus. Viruses have a life cycle, and I hope and I pray, and I don't know, but I think that the length of it will be shorter. I think the severity is going to be bigger because there's health concerns and economic concerns on both sides. So there's more concerns, but I think it'll be shorter, hopefully. But the people who that you're serving, you're helping them get out of pain during this time. And on the other side of this, they're going to know who you are. They're going to remember you, and they're going to be with you on the journey now, moving them towards pleasure longer term. And so I think that's just really the big thing to understand. How do you shift whatever it is you're selling away from moving them towards pleasure to, like, how does this thing that you're selling, the product, the service, the tool, whatever you have, how does this get people out of pain? And if you start speaking to that, that's how you're going to protect yourself and fortify your business during these scary times, because you'll be serving customers at that level. So that's the biggest advice I have. That's what we're trying to do. It's funny, like, initially when we were launching Travis Seeger's book, all of my initial ads and campaigns and everything were all focused on, like, grow your company, scale it up, like how we got to $100 million and all that kind of stuff. And now it's very much the opposite, where it's like, traffic is your life preserver. Like if your company's struggling, like, the biggest thing you need is, how do you get your right customers and serve them right now? Like, and that's the messaging is completely shifted in the whole book launch, because that's the market that we're in right now. So
absolutely, makes a lot of sense. Russell, thank you so much for your time today. That was awesome. And for everybody listening or watching, there's going to be a link in the description so you can get your copy of Traffic Secrets. You're going to love it. There's also going to be a chance for you guys to get all the 3 books if you don't have them yet. And there's one more. We didn't get to talk about it, but there's one more, Unlock the Secrets. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you, Russell. Have an amazing day, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you, and I hope your whole audience understands how lucky they are to have you as a leader. You're an amazing person, and been watching you for almost 6 years, and just love what you do and love how you serve people. So, thanks for your service to your people as well. So, thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Russell. See you soon.